Hello, this video will look at how the Rota or lender string is created for your requests. On the majority of your new requests, VDX will automate that process of creating the lender string for you after the request is submitted into the system with an ISBN and in a to-be-authorized state. Let's look at a request that was issued that way. I'm going to go into my pending file in my borrower work queue, and we're going to look at deadly nightshades. And I'm going to use the details link on that. This request was submitted into the system with an ISBN in a to-be-authorized state because we wanted VDX to build the Rota. I'm going down to Rota details, and we can see that VDX collected 18 locations that were an ISBN match for the ISBN in the record. It sorted these locations geographically so that the locations that are closer to the requesting location are at the top of the Rota. And if we look at request history, we can see it's currently engaged with the Wasaga Beach Library, the first location, and in authorized by system auto mediator displays. This simply tells us that this request was submitted to be authorized for auto mediation Rota building by VDX. There are occasions, however, when staff will want to manually create the request Rota before submitting the request, instead of passing that job over to the VDX background processor. One of those occasions is if you have to use a bib record that does not have an ISBN. Remember, VDX needs an ISBN to be able to create the lender string for you. If a bib record does not have an ISBN, then staff need to manually create the Rota before submitting the request. So I have a search result here. I've been looking for this title, and I finally found it at the Ottawa Public Library. I've been hunting and hunting, and there is no ISBN. But that's okay. You can request it anyway, just a little differently. You will still use the request link on the brief display to import the bibliographic detail into a request form. Let's look at authorization status first. VDX defaults to be authorized by VDX for all intents and purposes. So when you want a VDX to build the Rota and there's an ISBN in the record, you submit your request to be authorized. When there is no ISBN in the record, you need to change the authorization status to authorized, which is basically staff authorizing a request to locations that they are choosing for the Rota. When staff are manually selecting locations from available holdings selected for Rota, you need to be very careful that you only choose the main location. So this particular record shows that it's held at Ottawa, Maine, and at 2 of their branches. We will only select Maine using the add arrow to put it in selected for Rota column. If we were submitting the request to be authorized, VDX would take care of this for us. It would translate the branch name to the main. When you are manually selecting the Rota, though, remember, only select locations that say main. With the location selected, you will now go down and enter your patron details as you typically do. So we're going to enter our request number or our barcode for the patron. Use our validate link. The screen will refresh and the patron details will write over the staff default. This is the correct pickup location. We hit the request button. This is submitted into the system, authorized to go to Ottawa location only. There's another circumstance where staff might want to control the Rota. It's a little different. You may be wanting to send a request directly to a location that has set the book aside for you. So I've negotiated with the Cornwall Library to set this book aside for me. I'm collecting copies for my book club, and so they've said send me a request. There's an ISBN in this, so I'm going to request it a little differently. Again, I am going to change the authorization status of to be authorized, which passes it to the VDX background processors for a Rota build, to authorized. So I, the staff person, am authorizing this request to go to the location I choose, even though there's an ISBN in it. Changing it to authorize overwrites that. I select Cornwall. I add Cornwall to the Rota. I would go down and add my patron details, my pickup location, and request this. This is now in the system, and it has been authorized by staff to go to the Cornwall location only. So there you have it. The lesson here is that the ISBN in a request is desirable for automated Rota building. However, when necessary, staff can control where a request is sent by authorizing it to locations of their choice.